Hello and welcome back to the Football in Question YouTube channel, and today I'm doing something very similar to what I did last time, except instead of goalkeepers I'm going to be covering left backs. So yeah, I assume the way it's going to go is I'm going to keep going through positions, but right now I'm going to be covering left backs for today. So I'm going to be doing a tier list on all the left backs, and I'll be honest, it was hard picking certain teams' left backs as they might rotate a little bit or their main left back hasn't really played this season. So, you know, if you have an issue with the ones that I've picked, let me know, who you would have picked for certain clubs. But, I had to pick one from each club. I've got 20 left backs on the page right now, so I'm gonna have to go through them. But yeah, anyway, let's go on with the video. Okay, so as you can see, I'm, on the page. Here is our lovely little selection of left backs here. And we're going to have to start off. I don't know what order I'm going to do it, so I'm just going to do it with starting off. And it's a weird one to start off with, but we're going to start off with Nori, the left back for Wolves. Now, when I was picking Wolves, it was either him or Marcel or Johnny. Johnny's, 30 odd, Marcel, similar age, and Nori's a youngster who's been, I'm pretty sure they've now signed him on a permanent, but I don't know what to make of him. He's a youngster, you can't call him washed up. It would be unfair to say liability, but I think there's a player in there. He's a youngster, he's got potential. I feel like this should probably, I'm going to go liability. It feels really harsh, Okay, I'm actually going to leave the real big hitters until later. Okay, but next I'm going to go Cornet, Maxwell Cornet. I'm going to go decent straight away. I mean, without him, Burnley would be much more in the mud than they are this season. He's come in. Then again, he's been doing things which you wouldn't expect a left back to do. He's come in and scored goals. He's not been, his defensive prowess isn't what's got him praised this season. But to say he's not been a good signing for Burnley would be completely mistaken. But he's definitely been having a good season so far. I think he's got an injury at the moment, but he's been fab when he's been playing. So yeah, decent. I think it's completely justified. Aaron Cresswell. Now obviously they've also got Arthur Masuaku, who started their most recent game, but Cresswell's been there a long time. He's a big part of that dressing room and that squad, and I'm pretty sure he still does get a decent amount of game time. I'm putting him in inconsistent. Because he's been around for a long time and I've seen him. I know he's capable of a good performance. He's also got a good free kick in him, a good long shot in him. But I don't know if that comes out all the time. If this was Arthur Masuaku, I'd probably put him in liability because on the defensive front, I really don't think he has it in him. But I think Cresswell is a good player. He's good on his day, but his day isn't every week. But that's my honest reflection on the player. If you disagree, please comment below what you think of all these opinions that I've got here. But those are my thoughts on Aaron Cresswell. So next we've got Mark Cucurella, and I think we're seeing a bit of a bias towards the new signings. They've not been here long enough, but I think he's been very decent for Brighton. Just watching him play, and the impact he's got. And again, similarly to Cornet, it's his attacking output. I just look at him and I just think, God, he's fast, he's great running down the byline. The way I've seen him link up with Brighton players is really nice. Of course, Brighton really do lack a finisher, but not all of his output is resulting in goals. But yeah, he's been good, and my mind goes back to when Arsenal played them this season, because obviously I am an Arsenal fan, and I remember Cucurella was absolutely phenomenal. He gave Tomiyasu an absolutely torrid time in that game, and I think Cucurella, ever since then I've rated him because I thought this guy really that is a good player, and even when they signed him, I thought that was a quality signing for Brighton to get from La Liga. But yeah, so 4 players in. Let's keep going. So Luca Digne, or Luca Dean, or whatever the hell you want to call him. I'm going to put him in decent as well. I'm now thinking I might have to tip some people down a bit, but Luca Dean, I think he's a very good left back. This season, obviously, he's been dropped the last few games by Rafa and in favour of Godfrey, a left back, obviously their centre half. But I think he is quite a good player. I mean, from my fantasy football kind of point of view, I've always picked in it a lot, purely because he takes a lot of free kicks, he takes a lot of corners. You know, he's a good player to get assists from. From a defensive standpoint, you know, he's capable of doing a job, but he's not a phenomenal defensive fullback. But I think what we're seeing a trend in modern football is that a lot of these I'm going to rate on their attacking output. And if they have defensive output, that puts them even higher. It's the ones who have good defensive output that will probably get to. The people in red are people who are either, you know, so phenomenal going forward that their defensive attributes don't matter, or people who are as good as each other on both, or do an outstanding job on both. But we'll get to the kind of the big, important, controversial ones maybe later, depending on what people think. But after this, I'm going to go Junior Firpo. Now, this is his first season in the Premier League, coming from the league. Obviously, never really got a chance at Barcelona. And to be honest, I mean, Leeds have had a poor season, haven't they? Very poor season. I mean, he's not had an outstanding performance yet, so I'm going to put him in liability. I wonder what people think of that, but that's where I'm putting him. I'm not going to put him in washed up, because again, you know, he's only like, what, 24, I think? If that. But that's my opinion on him. I'm putting him there, but it's mainly on this season for a lot of these players, because a lot of these players have only really been around this season. Of course, Cucurella, Cornet, Aït-Nouri, it's only his second season in the Prem. Firpo, with Dino and Crespo, it's completely different, but that's the case. And it's still the case with Henry, Rico Henry. First season in the Premier League with Brentford. He's had very good games. You know, they've not been keeping clean sheets every other week. On a defensive standpoint, you know, he's not been phenomenal. Attacking output has been okay. I'm maybe going to put him in inconsistent, but I don't know. But I think Brentford have been inconsistent. I mean, you see it when they're losing. Like, did they lose? No, they didn't lose to Norwich. Did they? No, I don't think they did. I'm forgetting what results they've had. But, I mean, they've beaten us, and then they've, you know, lost teams to completely the other side who, you know, if they're beating us, they should be doing other. You know, it's just like they're kind of settling in. But at the end of the day, they're mid-table, so they're doing their job pretty well. But I can't put him in decent, because I'm thinking of the players who I plan on putting there. He's not quite on that level. Is he on the similar level to Aaron Cresswell? Absolutely. I'm thinking of changing it from inconsistent, because I think that's a really bad name. Okay, I'm changing it to potential, and the reason I'm doing that is because, like, there's potential for them to have a good game. And I'm also on that because it's short, and I've also done that so I can put Aït-Nouri in. Because I think Aït-Nouri does have potential, so I've changed it up a little bit. And also, it's a less insulting pick, which means I can maybe move these ones lower in as well. Okay, so James Justin. Now, James Justin, I don't know. When I was picking this, obviously, they've played George Thomas at left back, Castagna, new signing Bertrand. But once Justin's fit and, you know, Pereira's fit, he's going to play left back. Pereira will be a right back. And it's hard to judge him because he hasn't played in a while, but the impact he had on Leicester was quality. He was a phenomenal fullback. They were conceding a lot less with him on the pitch, scoring. Oh, they're scoring goals still, but he was getting involved in the act. Not involved in just scoring, but, you know, he didn't really score too many, but, you know, creating chances, he was definitely helping out with Leicester. I'd put him in decent. Because I thought when he was in amongst it with Leicester before his injury, he was really playing phenomenal. But unfortunately, you know, he's not really featured this season as of yet. But hopefully, we see more of him once he gets his fitness up in check. But yeah, just indecent for now. I'm now going to go with Jamal Lewis, who obviously used to play for Norwich, signed by Newcastle, which I thought was a very good signing at the time. But he's not really added anything to that Newcastle defence, and they're still struggling massively. So I can't help but put him in liability at the moment. So, same for Firpo. Just have they been a standout in their sides so far poor seasons? Obviously, Newcastle and Leeds very different at the moment. Leeds, you know, are struggling, but Newcastle, you know, I don't know if they are rock bottom anymore. I think Norwich might have dropped below them again, but they're definitely having a poor season. That's for sure, because they're in the relegation zone. But I've got to put him there. I've got to. Now, Turk Mitchell, he is a good left back. I don't know whether to put him in decent. I'm going to put him in potential purely because of the players that I'm going to be putting in later in the decent. And I just don't know if he quite matches up to that quality, but he's definitely a good left back. He's shown it at Palace, and you know he's pushed out Van Arnholt, who's been in the Premier League for a long time. Obviously, with Sunderland and then Palace. But he's definitely a good young English left back, and there's potential, you could say, for maybe an England call up in the next few years if he, steps up his game and really, makes more of a name for himself in the Premier League. But he's certainly already proving to people that he is a good Premier League standard footballer. But moving on, I'm going to go with Danny Rose. Obviously, a new signing for Watford on a free from Tottenham. I'm putting him in washed up. Now, Danny Rose, at the peak of his powers, was a very good left back. Don't get me wrong, he was an absolutely quality left back for Tottenham in the season where they pushed Leicester and finished third. The season after that. Basically, that 3-4 year. I'd say by the time they got to the Champions League final, Tottenham, that's when the cracks were setting in with him. When Mourinho got the job for Tottenham, that's that's the point. That's the marker where you go. And just before that, I'd say up to Pochettino's last season, Rose was probably one of the best left backs in the league. And if I'd put him in decent back then, but he's just washed up. Watching him when Arsenal played against them again, I have to bring it to that because that's a game. I don't watch every single side in the Premier League every week. So when I saw Arsenal play against them, he was the standout. We were targeting him, I thought. And he probably should have got more than one yellow in that game. He was very fortunate, made a lot of fouls. Gave away a penalty, a stupid penalty as well. Just clumsily taken out. And like I said, kind of shoving him away. But yeah, I've got to say, he's not it at the moment. And washed up, I think is the exact phrase I'd use to describe him at the moment. But yeah, if you disagree with me, say what you like down in the comments. But again, that is just my opinion. So now, Matt Targett. I don't know. I generally don't know. Because I think he is a good left back. I think he's inconsistent. Now, with potential. Here we go. I know what to do. It won't let me do it. Okay. I was going to do potential / inconsistent, but it won't let me do it. But anyway. Yeah, Matt Targett's going in here. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't say potential because I think he's gone past that kind of youth, young stage. But he's definitely capable of having a good game. But you don't see it often enough. He definitely can have a very bad game. I mean, I'd say the same back when he was at Southampton. Maybe not because he was a lot younger, but he's had good moments and very bad moments for Villa so far in his career. He's had his third season at Aston Villa, but. Yeah, I'd have to rank him there right now, I think. I don't think he's a liability. I think that'd be harsh on the guy because I think he is a good footballer. I think all these players can be said to be good footballers. It's just, it's all down to consistency, really, what differentiates between the middle three, and then the real quality of the player comes out in the top two and the bottom two. But, yeah, Target's just got to go there. I've just got to put that out. Now, Kyle Walker-Peters. I looked a bit through some of Southampton's lineups because they obviously signed Perrault, who could play at left back. But a lot of the season they've been playing Kyle Walker-Peters there to accommodate for Livramento. And obviously they're both good players and they want to play both of them. So they play Kyle Walker-Peters there. I don't know. I'm going to put him in the middle. He's a good player. And Arsenal played against Southampton on the weekend, and I thought in the first half they had a good first 25 minutes, and he was crucial to that, as their best attack in that first half came down the left-hand side with him, not with Livramento, who I was much more worried about. But Kyle Walker-Peters, I mean, he showed it at Tottenham that he did have moments where he was really looking like he could be the next thing for Tottenham at right back, but didn't quite make it. Obviously, I remember in one game I think he got 3 assists and a half. Which was pretty good for him at Tottenham. At Southampton, I'm pretty sure he's the fans have got behind him as a player, but the issue here is ranking him as a player or as a left back. As a left back, I'd maybe go, no, I think that's hard. I'm going to keep him there because he's still fairly young, and I think he is a good footballer. I think he is a good player, but, you know, inconsistent. I think that sums up Southampton. They all have decent, good little players, but how often do you see them perform at a decent level, apart from the likes of James Ward-Prowse, you know, who are very consistent footballers? But eventually I'll have to get some mids, but you won't hear from that now. Now, bottom of the league, Brandon Williams, Norwich. I don't know. I was talking to Jordan earlier, and he's just the one who put Giannopoulos here because Brandon Williams is on loan. But I've gone for Brandon Williams, obviously, because he will play most games I expect this season for them. Again, I'm putting him in potential. I mean, it's a very easy scapegoat one now that I've changed it to potential if they're young. I think there is a very good player in there, but, you know, potentially. He's shown glimpses at United every now and then, and I think what you'll see more from him when eventually he's used as a right back, whether that's at Man United or if he moves on and is used as a right back, because obviously he is right footed. And one thing is, a lot of these are right footed. There's a lot of teams which are trying to sneak good players in, and as a result are playing them at fullback, at left back. Now, the only cases where I see this working is Brandon Williams, because he's done it for United, he's done it a lot. James Justin, for similar reasons. And then you've also got Walker-Peters. Walker-Peters for me does not work. It's the opposite. It's, oh God, we've got Walker-Peters and Livramento. Let's just play with Cole Walker-Peters at left back. That's pretty much the feeling I'm getting from them. But anyway, I've left the big six. Now first, I'm going to go with Reguilon. Now with him, it's a debate between decent and potential. And keep in mind, when I say potential, I can't fit all the words in here, so it would either be potential or inconsistent. Those are the two words I'm mixing up with. I mean, inconsistent is Tottenham down to a T. He's shown very good glimpses at Tottenham. He's had very good games. I'm putting him there, though. Putting him in potential, you know, inconsistent. Because I think he is an inconsistent footballer. Very inconsistent footballer. Now, next, we will go with Luke Shaw. Now, at the moment, this season, he's been okay. But, you know, I'm putting him in decent. Just because of last season's output was just fantastic. It's his best season that he's had in his career. Obviously, all finished off, you know, with the cherry on top by scoring in the Euro final for England. You know, a moment which I'll never forget. You know, you'd always remember where you were, and that was a phenomenal moment for me. But I wouldn't put him in the top two. I wouldn't put him in baller, purely because he had that one good season, and I don't think he's reached that level before. I don't know if he'll reach that level again. Is it just a one-off? It's yet to be seen. He's been okay this season, but now Ralph Rangnick's come in. You know, he's not really getting a look in. You know, but you know, it's yet to be seen what happens with him under the new manager. But that's my opinion on him. Now I'm going to go Kieran Tierney, right? And with Kieran Tierney, again, I'm going to go decent. Now, I think Kieran Tierney is a quality footballer. He's a very talented footballer. Going forward, you know, I mean, on game week 1, Arsenal played awful against Brentford. And I remember Kieran Tierney still, that week, having the record of most chances created in that game week. He created 6 chances in that game, but obviously we started a inexperienced Fulham Balogun in his first start in the Premier League and had a lot of pit players out due to COVID. So as a result, you can see why nothing happened as a result of his creativity. But going forward, fantastic footballer. His crossing is delightful to watch. His speed, agility, the way he can get past the man and beat a man to the byline is absolutely wonderful to watch. He's a very consistent footballer. Watching him as an Arsenal fan, I think he always puts in at least a 7 out of 10 week in, week out. He will run his socks off. And he's only just got back from injury, and in 2 games he's been back, he's got 2 assists, an assist in each, obviously, and both from Martin Odegaard, actually. No, I've just realised, but yeah, I think he's a quality footballer. But at the end of the day, he's also, I wouldn't put him in inconsistent. Some people may argue inconsistent because of his injuries, but that's not his fault. It's not like he's been playing bad in those moments, it's that he's not been on the pitch. But whenever he's been on the pitch, I've always thought he's put in an absolute shift and been a very good fullback, defensively and defensively. But now, I've put these 3 off because I think, yeah, at the moment, these are probably the 3 best left backs in the league. That's the honest opinion. Now, João Cancelo is going right at the top. He's had a phenomenal season. And keep in mind, he's naturally right-footed. He's more of a right-back, but he's been amazing this season. I'd argue, actually, he's probably been the best left-back this season. He's had a better season than Robertson, but he is, naturally a right-back. So, that's even more impressive. But he's been phenomenal. He's a class footballer. I mean, going out of the Premier League, I remember seeing the goal he scored against Leipzig with an absolute stunner from outside the box. And, his technical ability, the ball he made for Sterling, I don't know who it was against, but it was a few games ago, was just phenomenal. I'm pretty sure it was like a Trivela. But, technically, he's just amazing. His goal involvements are going up this season. And defensively, I think he's very solid and very capable. And he's very consistent. To be that consistent at that high quality, he's set a bar for fullbacks in the league. And it's just, he's just one of a kind. His pace is also just a massive output for City going forward. He's frightening to watch. He's a monster at fullback. He's a great player. But I don't want to talk too much about him, but that's where I'm putting him. So now, Andy Robertson, straight up as well. Easy, completely easy. He's been very consistent in the Premier League at the highest level of football for since 2017, because that was his first season starting with Liverpool, obviously playing that season, leading to the Champions League final against Real Madrid. Since that season, he's been starting and he's been up there, and he's probably been the best left back in the league this entire time. But now João Cancelo is playing at left back, there's a bit more of a conversation. But again, his delivery, he takes some corners for City. His creativity is phenomenal. Going forward, he's phenomenal. And out of the two fullbacks Liverpool have, I'd say he's the more defensively capable one. Out of him and Trent, but he's certainly a phenomenal fullback. And the fact that he was also signed by Liverpool for such a small fee really adds to this as well. But yeah, 100%. There's no question. Those two, there was never a question of them putting him in the top tier. Now, Ben Chilwell. This is a really tough one for me. I don't know whether to put him in decent or baller. When he was at Leicester, I'd have kept him there. Last season, I'd have still kept him there. But this season, he's been on fire. And unfortunately, he's picked up an injury, and it's I don't know. I've heard rumours that he might be back in March, which is good to know. But I don't know. This season, he's been phenomenal, getting in amongst the goals and assists. But is he? I don't know. I'm going to put him in decent purely because that's where I'd rank him the majority of the time he's been in the Premier League. But this season he hit a really nice rich vein of form and then picked up an injury. But definitely I'd say with Tierney, with Shaw, with Chilwell, even Digne, there is potential to reach the next level. As they are all very talented left backs. Even like Cucurella and James Justin and Cornet. But yeah, that is it. Okay, that is it, I'm afraid. That's it from me talking about all the left backs. What did you think of where I placed them? Are you annoyed where your club's left back finished? Do you have some disagreements with some of the players that I've put there? Let me know. What do you think? Just, as I've said throughout the entire video, comment below your thoughts on this, what changes you'd make. If you want to see different content tier lists, please write down, give us ideas, that'd be really lovely. But yeah, that is it for this video. Also, we will have the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the socials down in the description. So go check us out on there. We will post other stuff related to football, like on covering each Premier League match day. We'll pick things out from those days and what stood out from the games. So yeah, check that content out. Also, obviously, this is mainly a podcast, so don't forget to check us out on Spotify. That link should be in the description as well. But yeah, this is the new YouTube schedule, so you'll be getting another video this week, I believe on Saturday. I'm pretty sure that should be from Jordan, continuing his career mode series on FIFA 22. So don't forget to check that video out and vote in the poll to see what kits and badges you want to use in that. So please check the video out. Also, Ashley posted a video not too long ago on the biggest youngsters in European football, so don't forget to check that video out as well. And also, since this seems to be part of a series, if you haven't seen it, please check out my old video on the goalkeepers this season in the Premier League. But yeah, I'm afraid that is it. So, you've been watching The Football in Question, and hopefully you enjoy the video. See ya!